Chapter 5. The Control of Psychic Prana. We have now to deal with the exercises in pranayama. We have seen that the first step will be, according to the yogis, to control the motion of the lungs. What we want to do is to free the inner motions that are going on in the body. Our minds have become externalized and have lost sight of the fine motions inside. If we can begin to feel them, we can begin to control them. These nerve currents are going on all over the body, bringing life and vitality to every muscle, but we do not feel them. The yogi says we can learn to do so. How? By taking up and controlling all these motions of the prana, beginning with the motion of the lungs, and when we have done that for a sufficient length of time, we shall also be able to control the finer motions. We now come to the exercises in pranayama. Sit upright. The body must be kept straight. The spinal cord, although it is inside the vertebral column, is not attached to it. If you sit crookedly, you disturb the spinal cord, so let it be free. Any time that you sit crookedly and try to meditate, you are doing yourself an injury. The three parts of the body must be always held straight, the chest, the neck, and the head, in one line. You will find that by a little practice, this will come to you just as breathing. The second thing is to get control of the nerves. We have seen that the nerve center that controls the respiratory organs has a sort of controlling effect on the other nerves, and rhythmical breathing is therefore necessary. The breathing that we generally use should not be called breathing at all. It is very irregular. Then there are some natural differences of breathing between men and women. The first lesson is just to breathe in a measured way, in and out. That will harmonize the system. When you have practiced this for some time, you will do well to join the repetition of some word to it as Om, or any other sacred word, and let the word flow in and out with the breath, rhythmically, harmoniously, and you will find the whole body is becoming rhythmical. Then you will learn what rest is. Sleep is not rest, comparatively. Once this rest has come, the most tired nerves will be calmed down, and you will find that you have never before really rested. In India, we use certain symbolical words instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4. That is why I advise you to join the mental repetition of the Om or other sacred words to the pranayama. The first effect of this practice will be that the face will change. Harsh lines will disappear. With this calm thought, calmness will come over the face. Next, beautiful voice will come. I never saw a yogi with a croaking voice. These signs will come after a few months' practice. Slowly fill the lungs with breath through the ida, the left nostril, and at the same time concentrate the mind on the nerve current. You are, as it were, sending the nerve current down the spinal column and strikingly violently on that last plexus, the basic lotus, which is triangular in form, the seat of the kundalini. You are, as it were, sending the nerve current down the spinal column and striking violently on the last plexus, the basic lotus, which is triangular in form, the seat of the kundalini. Then hold the current there for some time. Imagine that you are slowly drawing that nerve current with the breath through the other side, then slowly throw it out through the right nostril. This you will find a little difficult to practice. The easiest way is to stop the right nostril with the thumb, and then slowly draw in the breath through the left. Then take the thumb off and let the breath out through the right nostril. Next, inhale slowly through that nostril, keeping the other closed by the forefinger, then close both as before. The way the Hindus practice this would be very difficult for this country because they do it from their childhood and their lungs are prepared for it. Here it is well to begin with 4 seconds and slowly increase. Draw in 4 seconds, hold in 16 seconds, then throw out in 8 seconds. This makes one pranayama. At the same time, think of the triangle, concentrate the mind on that center. The imagination can help you a great deal. The next breathing is slowly drawing the breath in and then immediately throwing it out slowly and then stopping the breath out, using the same numbers. The only difference is that in the first case the breath was held in and in the second held out. This last is the easier one. The breathing in which you hold the breath in the lungs must not be practiced too much. Do it only 4 times in the morning and 4 times in the evening. Then you can slowly increase the time and number. You will find that you have the power to do so and that you take pleasure in it. So very carefully and cautiously increase as you feel that you have the power to 6 instead of 4. It may injure you if you practice it irregularly. Of the 3 processes, for the purification of the nerves, the retaining the breath inside and the keeping the breath outside, the first and the last are neither difficult nor dangerous. The more you practice the first one, the calmer you will be. Just think of Om and you can practice even while you are sitting at your work. You will be all the better for it. One day, if you practice hard, the Kundalini will be aroused. For those who practice once or twice a day, just a little calmness of the body and mind will come, and beautiful voice. Only for those who can go on further with it will this Kundalini be aroused, and the whole of this nature will begin to change, and the book of knowledge will be open. No more will you need to go to books for knowledge. Your own mind will have become your book, containing infinite knowledge. I have already spoken of the Ida and Pingala currents flowing through either side of the spinal column, also of the Sushumna, the passage through the center of the spinal cord. These 3 are present in every animal. Whatever has a spinal column has these 3 lines of action, but the yogis claim that in ordinary mankind the sushumna is closed, that action there is not evident, while in the other 2 it is evident, carrying power to different parts of the body. The yogi alone has the sushumna open. When this sushumna current opens and thought begins to rise through it, we get beyond the senses, our minds become supersensuous, superconscious, we get beyond even the intellect and where reasoning cannot reach. To open that sushumna is the prime object of the yogi. According to him, along this sushumna are arranged these centers of distribution, or in more figurative language, these lotuses as they are called. The lowest one is at the lowest end of the spinal cord and is called Muladhara. The next one is called Svadhisthana, the next Manipura, the next Anahata, the next Vishuddha, and the last, which is in the brain, is the Sahasrara, or the 1,000-petaled. Of these we have to take cognition just now of only 2 centers, the lowest, the Muladhara, and the highest, the Sahasrara. The lowest one is where all energy becomes stored up, and that energy has to be taken up from there and brought to the last one, the brain. The yogis claim that of all the energies that the human body comprises, the highest is what they call ojas. Now this ojas is stored up in the brain, and the more the ojas is in a man's head, the more powerful he is, the more intellectual, the more spiritually strong will that man be. This is the action of ojas. One man may speak beautiful language and beautiful thoughts, but they do not impress people. Another man speaks neither beautiful language nor beautiful thoughts, yet his words charm. That is the power of ojas coming out. Every movement coming from him will be powerful. Now in all mankind there is more or less of this ojas stored up, and all the forces that are working in the body in their highest become ojas. You must remember that it is only a question of transformation. The same force which is working outside as electricity or magnetism will become changed into inner force. The same forces that are working as muscular energy will be changed into ojas. The yogis say that that part of the human energy which is expressed as sex energy, and sexual functions, sexual thought, and so on, when checked and controlled, easily becomes changed into ojas, and as this lowest center is the one which guides all these functions, therefore the yogi pays particular attention to that center. He tries to take up all this sexual energy and convert it into ojas. It is only the chaste man or woman who can make the ojas rise and become stored in the brain, and that is why chastity has always been considered the highest virtue, because man feels that if he is unchaste, spirituality goes away, he loses mental vigor and strong moral stamina. That is why in all of the religious orders in the world that have produced spiritual giants, you will always find this intense chastity insisted upon. That is why the monks came into existence, giving up marriage. There must be perfect chastity in thought, word, and deed. Without it, the practice of Raja Yoga is dangerous and may lead to insanity. If people practice Raja Yoga and at the same time lead an impure life, how can they expect to become yogis?